The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Faster by, good afternoon. Welcome to Mannin Line on Manx Radio. Open line through till 1, so call 66 13 68 to have your say. Email studio@manxradio.com, and on socials you can WhatsApp and you can SMS message 166 177, same number, but you'll need to put 07624 in front of that if you're WhatsApping, and have us in your contacts so we can see your picture. What do you think of what Jed Power had to say yesterday, talking about our hospitality offering, the future, and quite a few ideas? And we'll get to that because lots and lots of follow-up on that, and lots of messages didn't even get to yesterday. But David's with us first today. Hi. Oh, it's, let me see. It is Douglas. Hi, Douglas.
That's me, sunshine.
Yes, yes.
Right on now. It's regarding the National Health Service over here.
Yeah.
Now, I've been using this chiropody department down in Knowles there for years. I've had New Zealand girls doing the work. I've had Manx girls doing the work. They went down yesterday, and there's a fellow from South Africa. Now, when I rang last week to make an appointment, I was told, there's a long waiting list and blah, blah, blah. They went on, I was damn near in tears. Well, I said, you better get my name on the list, and this is last Friday morning, about between 10:30 and 11. So I gave her all my details. But 1:30, I got a phone call back to say, Tuesday afternoon, 2:15. That was a hell of a long list.
Yeah.
So I goes down yesterday, and he says, this will be the last time you'll have your nails cut in here. Now, I'm 94 years of age, like a lot of other people in the Isle of Man, and I'm bloody sure they'll not be able to cut their own nails. So they give us a list here of chiropodist clinics. The first 3 are clinics. The next 4 is mobile. The next one is mobile and clinic. Mobile, clinic, mobile, clinic, mobile. Now, are we going to have to start to pay for this?
Well, it sounds like it. Did they tell you that you could claim the money back, or what?
It says here, predominantly employed by Manx Care, but also provide private care at a cost. But it doesn't tell you what the cost is going to be. But, I mean, I worked for 45 years for a company, paid all my taxes, everything. I think, how do they go on? Will these fellas up in prison, will they get out?
And how long have you been having your feet done on the National Health now?
30 years.
Right, okay. So, and on the piece of paper they gave you, you said that some services are provided by Manx Care.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't say what.
No. So it gives you a list of numbers here, so you've got to go through all these numbers to try and find out one that'll take you and give you all the details, But this is a bit thick, really, You can't expect people of our age to start worrying about this and then try to cut your own, go get somebody to cut your nails. How often do
you go to chiropody? How often have you been going?
Roughly about 2 to 3 months.
Right, so every 4 times a year?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, 4 times a year.
So they got all these details down there. I said, you've got everything you want to know about me there on that list. I mean, what the hell's going on down there? They want somebody in there to start cracking the whip, I think,
Wow. And, I mean, what did the fella say when he said this is the last time? How did he phrase it, Douglas?
Just like that.
That's the last time?
Yeah.
After
cut my nails,
after 30 years. After 30 years, yeah. But I mean, it's not just me. I mean, I'm speaking now, possibly on behalf of an awful lot of old people. The Isle of Man is full of old people. But what about these fellas in prison? How are they going to go on? Are we going to have to provide them and pay for it? Or are they going to get it for nothing? We'll try and find out. All right, Douglas, we'll try and get to the bottom of that. Thanks for that information.
Well, I spoke to Mr. Thompson yesterday, and he's going to look at it as well, in the MHK,
Well, at the moment, somebody just messaged into me and said that at the moment, nail cutting, getting your feet done, is £25.
Well, what the hell have we been paying for all these years, then? When we worked for 45 years. I worked for 45 years and paid all my stamps, income tax, the lot, What did I pay for?
All right. Douglas, we'll try and get to the bottom of this and see what's happening.
Well, my number is 676971, but I'll be listening out for you now.
All right.
Okay?
Thanks for calling today. Good to hear from you. All right. If you can, now, can we get to the bottom of this? Have chiropody services been withdrawn? Is Manx Care paying for anything, or have people like Douglas who've been having this on the National Health for 94 years of age? And you simply can't expect any gentleman or lady of advanced years to be bending down, cutting their own toenails. Sorry if you're eating, by the way, but it is human nature. All human life is here. Do we know anything about this? Has the chiropody services, National Health Chiropody Services, been withdrawn? Howard's on now. Hi, Howard.
Hello, Andy. I can verify what Doug has just been saying, not for my own personal use, but a cousin, and he has type 1 diabetes, which needs continuous looking after your feet, and he also, he hasn't had an attack lately, but he has epilepsy. But he had regular appointments at the chiropodist, the podiatrist, and he suddenly got taken off that list and told his appointment was cancelled, and he was no longer going to get his feet done until I said, well, go down and sort them out down there. Now he's back on the list, but they just took him off and cancelled his appointment for no reason at all.
Now, why is this? I mean, is this cost saving? What's it all about?
Lord only knows. They don't seem to be to keep any staff down there, because every time he went down there was somebody different, and he is in his, he's pulling on 70 now, and that man there, he's frail, he's on his a frame and everything, and they're expecting him to make his way to a chiropodist somewhere, or possibly have someone come round at his own expense, whereas he should be going to the podiatry clinic on a medical grounds, not on personal grounds, but on medical grounds.
You see, surely, I mean, Howard, this is a bit disrespectful, isn't it?
It is. It's exactly that. And he had the same thing when COVID was on, because he couldn't make an appointment because they were shut. They took him off his diabetes treatment up at the diabetes clinic. He found out it was cancelled and his name had been taken off the list. And that was this seems to be what the Manx Care seem to be doing now. They're just cancelling people. And they're streaming their way rapidly to go private. No dentists, no podiatry. The staff up at the diabetes clinic are superb. It's the management, middle management, upper management that are cost-cutting, saving. And they bring in another 10 people to save £1 working in management. But the people that's on the ground, that's supposed to be doing the work, they're in and gone again because they're fed up with the situation by the sounds of it. But that's not what I came for. I was just backing up Dougie because he was speaking truthfully there, what is happening down the podiatry clinic. I know this from personal information from a relative.
Okay.
But no, I was just looking at on your news about they're decimating the gardens on the promenade. Now, those gardens were opened by Lord Raglan, 1934. I can say this because as an apprentice, when I started work in 1959, that's what I started with, in the gardens working for Douglas Corporation Parks Department. And I've worked in the Villa Marina and various old places around and the promenade gardens, and they're very close to my heart. And to see what they're planning to do now, okay, the walls were knocked down there in the boating pool area, where the children's play area, And they've been hemming and hawing for the last almost 2 years going to put it right again, and it's not happened. Now, they've hit the fan, and they're going to do what will be the area with the boating pool and put up a new children's park. And looking at the pictures on your news on the internet here, it looks farcical. It's not a play area as such. It's some idea that some genius has been sitting and doodling on a computer in the office. But then gardens 5 and 6, they're the ones at the Sefton end. They start 1, 2, 3, all the way through from what was the Old Villiers and the Rockery and the fountain area, and the gardens either side. Each one is numbered. In actual fact, if you go to the number 6 garden they're referring to at the Sefton end, there's a little fountain there that gives you the date and details of when it was opened. Lord Raglan, the date, and the little fountain. Now, I don't know what they plan to do with that garden, but they're putting open spaces. We've got that. For God's sake, we've got open spaces there. They're called gardens, and they're sheltered, and people can go and sit there and admire and just relax. This clown that's in the council, if you remember, he was advertising on Manx Radio, no mow May. Leave your gardens, let them grow wild.
Yeah.
It helps the bees and helps this, that and the other. And there they are, decimating the beautiful gardens in Douglas. Why was this not put forward to the people of Douglas, the ratepayers? They're borrowing tens of thousands of pounds to do this. And, $1.25 million. Who's the idiot that decided all this? There should be a protest against this for the ratepayers, because those gardens are part of Douglas.
Do you think, Howard, we need to... because some of the gardens look fine, some of them look a bit tatty at the moment, but as you say, what are they talking about? They're talking about Marine Garden 5, aren't they?
5 and 6.
Yeah. So,
and I think the old boating pool area.
Should we be maintaining those gardens as they used to be, or is there a bright new modern world ahead? What should we do with them?
The bright new modern world ahead still needs flowers and places to relax. And the garden, to sit there and relax, is part of what they term now, and it's a thing that's bandied about all over the place, mental health.
Yeah.
And you can go down there and sit within your own thoughts and in the peace and quiet. You know, I work at the Camera Obscura, and a lot of people come up and they admire the cleanliness of Douglas.
Yeah.
Now, you put a skate park down there, it's going to be graffiti all over the place, litter, rubbish, and you only have to look at the state of Strand Street when you walk through. That hasn't been cleaned for a long time, and the paving stones are disgraceful. You look at the promenade, it's fallen to pieces now, 3 years after being rebuilt. So what on earth is going to happen to the promenade gardens?
Do you think, Howard, that the councillors in Douglas, do you think they've got pride in Douglas?
No, definitely not. There's one, the mayoress, she is a gardener herself, and I'm very surprised, or I would be if I saw her name again, voting for this decimation. And it'll end up just a flat area, and I'm lost for words for it, because that there is a beautiful area right the way down through the middle of the promenade. And I think myself, the government have got something to do with this, wanting the horse trams. Because somehow I think that grass patch that the genius in the government is not suitable for the horse trams.
Right.
And this looks very much like an idea somewhere between the town council and, or should I say, I'm very sorry about this, the city council. That they're sitting there on their rows up on the high peaks, and they're coming up with these ridiculous ideas. Where are they going to find 1.4 million to do that? And Douglas is like a tip. There's places there where they can put a skate park. They've got one at Nobles Park. I'd like to see how often it's used up there. It might be well used. But to put one down on Douglas Promenade and decimate the gardens, what are these people thinking about? And I think the whole lot should be emptied next year. And I would like to see a public protest against this, because the public were never informed of the decimation of those two gardens at the Sefton end of the promenade.
OK, all right, Howard, we appreciate that. Thanks for calling us today.
Take care, bye now.
OK, you can find out all the details at manxradio.com of what Douglas Council is, what they got planned for the Sunken Gardens refurbishment scheme. It's £1.4 million. They're borrowing half of it, and probably got the rest in the coffers there. But have a look, see what you think, get in touch and give us a call. I agree with Douglas. This is disgusting, says this WhatsApper on 776 regarding taking chiropody away. And afternoon, Andy, says Terry K. This government's set on destroying the island heritage. First the horse trams, no bus service to Craignish, as well as the scruffy state of our heritage sites, and no cafe at the Manx Museum, says Terry Kay. Who's in charge? I agree with Douglas. This is disgusting, says 776. They told my mother they wouldn't be coming again, then rang and said, we've discovered she's a diabetic, so we will be coming. David's on now. Hi, David.
Hi, Andy. I just finally got a copy of the survey, and I dropped one off to Manx Radio to let you have a look at it.
Oh, this is the survey about transport.
It says on the top of the survey, please help us to improve the local streets, roads, buses and cycling.
Yeah.
And when you look at the questions, the front page is, well, the first thing is, anyway, the return envelope goes to the UK with a second-class imprint on it. If they were organising it in the Isle of Man, why didn't they use a local company? There must be loads of them here.
Yeah, and I looked at that address. It says National Highways and Transport Survey. So, yeah, and it's going to a UK in Harrow.
Yes, but on the first page, and I hope you'll. I've never met the lady, but she's called Maud Blessing, and she's the director of Highway Services. Yeah. So there's an opportunity there for you to get her to come on and say, what is the DOI doing? Is it short of money? Have they got no people to do the work? Are they short of employees?
What's behind this, do you think?
I don't know. I think it's one of these things. We've ticked the box. We've done a survey. If anybody whinges, you had your chance to say. But I would love to know how many they sent out. Why didn't they do as a local return to help the post office out? And on the back, do they need to know which of these groups I belong to? White, British, Irish, all sorts of Asian, Chinese. I'm not discriminating the thing, but do you want to know that? Don't you want to know what the roads are like, the potholes are like, the service is right, and you need to know whether a man, woman, or other genders?
It would just be interesting, though, to know. I mean, this has cost money. Obviously, this has cost thousands of pounds to do and sort out and buy the postal service for. What's it all about? I mean, have they got an idea dreamed up, and then they suddenly put a random survey out, and then it will kind of concur with what they want to do, and then suddenly say, we did a survey and this is what you want, and that's what we're doing. It just seems to be very general.
It is. And then why would you want to know too? The other thing is whether I'm in full-time employment, part-time employment, self-employed, permanently sick or disabled, retired, or full-time education, or the other question, $1 million, something else. What's something else?
Yes. Well, let's see how many people have had this. This is the Infrastructure Highway Services questionnaire that's been sent out. And this was sent out by post, yeah?
I believe so, because I didn't get one. Right. So I appealed on your programme, and somebody sent me one or gave me one, told me where I could get one, pick one up from them, and I'm going to return it back this afternoon if they're listening.
Well, I just wonder what it's about. I mean, what infrastructure want to know?
Yeah, how much it cost? And by the way, on the promenade too this morning, there's an awful tailback getting into Douglas, because they're replacing the windows, and everybody was turning back and going up towards the Parliament building.
Oh, they're putting new windows in the Lloyd's building, aren't they? Yeah.
in the bank there, but they could have advance warning and turning people around, put somebody on with a board that goes forward or go, stop, whatever.
And what's the traffic like going through Onken like at the moment?
It's very challenging, but we've learned to do different ways to get in and out of Onken. And the main thing is that we have a good service coming in and around us through the centre of the village. And I've got to give praise to the DOI guys. They're the guys at the coalface there. They've done excellent work. But will they get praise? Well, they may be listening.
Well, they will hear.
I'll give them some ice lollies this afternoon around about 2 o'clock.
All right, thanks for calling.
See you, boy.
All right, so have you had this survey? It's a survey from Infrastructure Highway Services. Please help us improve local streets, roads, buses and cycling. Tell me, just drop me a note and tell me where you are and if you've had this survey, and we'll see if we can get more blessing, get some information from more blessing, maybe get more blessing on Mannin Line today. My son, 11 years of age, suffered a big knee injury 9 weeks ago. Orthopaedics forgot to do his referral for physio for a month. Now got a letter saying for children there's a large wait unless it's an urgent case due to staffing. How do they prioritise and decide who's getting treatment and who isn't? Should there not be an offer of subsidised private treatment, says Texter 202. Thanks for that. More taxes, less service. It's about time people stood up to MHKs. Well, you heard Jed Power yesterday say time and time and time again, there's no money. There's no money. So the illusion that we can have what we want as we used to do is kind of breaking. There's no money. That's the reason that things are a bit of a mess, that there is no money. That's the reason that there's not money to spend on Manx National Heritage. No money. That's the reason that some things are closed. No bus to Cregneash. No bus to Cregneash. And they said usage was going down. Well, it'll really go down if there's no bus. This is private healthcare via the back door. I'm terminally ill and I've just been told the same thing, says Thelma about chiropody. Never mind the gardens. When's the promenade walkway going to be refurbished, says Jan. Thank you, Jan. And also, I'm disgusted, saddened to hear that basic medical and prevention services like chiropody are being denied to those who need them. The lack of care to all patients left suffering in pain with no help from those who are supposed to be caring, I think is inhumane. Says Crystal, shame on the Manx government for selling the people down the track. What's the exact law on cutting hedges, says Pat. I'm told you can't cut hedges until after August 31st, but last week I've witnessed garden contractors cutting hedges back, says Pat. Can you let us know? And also, I agree 100% with Howard, says Texter 068, about the sunken gardens. What a joke. Why do we need a skate park on Douglas Promenade? People want to sit and enjoy peace and quiet, not have people whizzing around on a skate park next to them. Leave the sunken gardens alone. They're lovely as they are. Don't those councillors in Douglas realise the sunken gardens were there long before they were there? And suddenly they have a bright idea and want to change them. Who gives them the right? Thank you to that texter, 081. Vivian's on now. Hi, Vivian.
Hiya, Andy. Have you met Mo Blessing?
I haven't, no.
I have. She's come from London and she wants to turn the Isle of Man Highway Authority into what she had in London.
Oh, dear.
The one thing somebody's just been on about hedges. She wanted to take back all the hedges, the pavements, gullies that the local authorities have. But her idea was, and this wasn't only me, it was at a meeting. Her idea was that everybody should start on Tuesday and it'd be finished for Friday. And I said, how are you going to do that? Well, we've got all the hedge cutters in the roads. I said, no, we haven't, because the DOI sold them all. And I said, they're all out to contractors, and there's only so many we've got on this island. And like they bring people to the island to do jobs, and I'm not criticising the jobs they want to do, but they don't have any knowledge about the Isle of Man.
Interesting. It's interesting, Vivian, as you say, and again, we're not getting personal about this, but the trouble is when people come to they apply for whether it's a civil service job or what have you, and the Isle of Man could be the Isle of Grain, it could be the Isle of Dogs or the Isle of Wight, and suddenly find themselves in the Isle of Man, and it finally seeps through to them that the Isle of Man's different. It's not the same. Exactly.
But I'm afraid at the meeting I was at with her, which was last year, I told her bluntly that in the Isle of Man we do things our way.
And what did she say?
I'm still waiting for an answer.
Right. Thanks, Vivian. It's good to hear from you. Thanks, Vivian.
That's all right. Bye.
Bye-bye. 28 minutes before 1. The prom gardens shouldn't be taken out. They should be restored, says Texter 692. Restore them back to how they were. The problem is that no more gardeners at the parks. They're just labourers. It's a sign of the times when the Villa Marina gardens are contracted, not looked after by Douglas Corporation like they were in the past. Well, Douglas Corporation don't own it now. It's government, of course. They won't be happy until there's nothing left and everywhere is concrete, says Texter 692. So these are the big plans for Douglas Promenade that Douglas Corporation, Council, City Council, anyway, have for... And, well, they're elected, they're in charge, they can raise the money, this is what they want to do. These are the people who took away the festoon lights, because apparently, well, who wanted festoon lights anyway? Who wanted it to look pretty and nice and multicoloured when you were coming in on the boat? Juan's on now. Hi, Juan.
How are you today, Andy? Look at summer's here.
It's lovely today, isn't it? Absolutely. The trouble is, tomorrow it's not going to be as nice, and there's a cruise liner here.
Well, at least the horse trams will be on. It's not Monday.
Oh, right. Apparently, the horses play cards on a Monday.
They do. I think since they joined the Horses Union, I think that's what had a lot to do with it as well. They've got to shorten them hours. I was at the Jersey Boys last night at the Gaiety Theatre.
Yeah.
Brilliant show. Absolutely brilliant. A lot of people in there. And you just think, I mean, that building, I think it was 1893, I think that was built, I think, Andy. It was one of the earlier Dandara builds again. And what a fantastic piece of architecture inside. But you know what we have to remember is, at one time, the government of the day wanted to pull that down. And you look at it now, how much happiness that it gives people watching shows there. And we have to remind ourselves that the people in charge of the day are not necessarily right with their decisions. And if it wasn't for people standing up and making a song and a dance, then I think Mervyn Stokes and a lot of other passionate people, we wouldn't have the Gaiety Theatre now.
Can't believe that there isn't a plaque to Mervyn Russell Stokes.
Absolutely. And,
I mean, we were a weekend away from losing the Gaiety Theatre. A weekend away from it being knocked down because somebody thought it was a good idea to knock it down and a bad idea for it to stay up, and Mervyn made it his life's work to save the Gaiety Theatre.
And my point here is people in positions of power are not necessarily right, and people need to stand up and shout and save what they want to save, because once it's gone, it's gone. And I'm just following on from the discussion with Jed yesterday, and Jed Powers was more or less saying exactly the same as what I'm saying. Going private and having private enterprise run things, people with a passion running tourism, is a great thing. And the biggest problem that I see is the legalities that government are putting in the way. Yes, you can run that, but you need this, you need that, you need a risk assessment, you need St John's Ambulance, you need to jump through hoops. And this is the stuff. Let private enterprise do this stuff, but government need to back off and let stuff happen here. They're crowding people and not getting things done. I'm looking this week, the growth of government again. He's 4 jobs for you this week advertised on X, careers in the Isle of Man. Admin officer, Government House. Policy development officer. Director for Workforce Development and Culture. And the best one of the lot, climate change partner for transport and adaptation. All these fancy jobs. No wonder that there's no money left to spend on housing for local people. And that follows on to the threads that's been online recently about the luxury apartments. They're going to spend lots of money with government backing building luxury apartments. What about our own people? What about our own people? Where, are they going to make profit from this and then build houses for our local people? I doubt it. And that's the problem. That's why everyone is concerned now about where this is heading. And the other point, they're listening to people talking about the chiropody. Right, we've got, I think the top physician on the island is about on 140,000 a year. The Lord Mayor of London, 160,000 a year. The President of the United States, 400,000 a year. Prime Minister of England, 164,000. Tell me, Andy, do you know how much Theresa Coper's on at the head of Manx Care?
No.
I believe in the circa of £200,000.
Well, I would presume that they would say that's the going rate for the job.
Well, is that why we've got no money? Because the government is growing. I've just named 4 jobs there. I could go on forever with jobs on that they're advertising. The growth of government is everyone is going around telling everyone else what to do with pieces of paper, and the money is not getting spent for the people of the island. It's all money. You know, have you got a desk assessment up at Manx Radio, Andy?
A desk assessment?
A desk assessment. Here's another good one for you. Our government, the Isle of Man government, have to fill in forms. The people have to fill in forms, a desk assessment, to tell them whether your desk is faulty or not. How's that?
Actually, I've been told somebody's just run in with a high-vis jacket on and passed me a piece of paper to say, yes, we do have a desk assessment policy here. I didn't. Nobody told me.
The world's going slightly mad, though, Andy, isn't it? And you know, I like I said before, I think 2122 total remuneration for executive board members for Manx Care, 654,000. That was 2 years ago. Ex-executives, 138,000. That was on an FOI request. So the money that is getting spent out is disproportionate, and this is why we were. Well, it wasn't that long ago where this government were proud to say we've got money, we've got surplus money for a rainy day, and all of a sudden, wow, it's gone. Paul Daniels has been here; it's just disappeared. And you know, people need to start taking a grip and making their voices heard of what they think. I mean, this programme is full of negativity with things, and quite rightly so, because there's something not happening right here. We've got 24 elected members of Parliament in there, and they're being led by the nose by civil servants, as far as I can see. There's something wrong, desperately wrong. We need to get a grip of it before it goes too much further.
OK. All right, June, thanks for calling.
Take care, Andy.
Look at that time, 21 minutes now before 1.
Hello, this is Archibald
and Oliver from Politibabble.
and we would like to wish Manx Radio a very happy birthday.
Been anywhere nice, love?
Yeah, I've just had a wonderful weekend away with my granddaughter, and I didn't spend a penny. I traded in some gold jewellery, watches, silverware and old cameras with Vintage Cash Cow.
Vintage Cash Cow?
That's the one. They pay a fair price for all kinds of antiques and collectibles, and these were just collecting dust in my garage. Visit vintagecashcow.co.uk to order your free postage pack.
Quadlock is the strongest and most secure mounting system in the world for integrating your phone, camera or accessories into your outdoor pursuits and for your car, van or motorhome. See the Quadlock display at H&H Motorcycles in South Key, Douglas.
What a lovely day it is to go to the beach.
I know, the sun is almost as dazzling as Skipton International savings rates.
Oh, tell me more.
The Guernsey Bank Skipton International is currently offering a 5.00% AER fixed rate saving account, maturing 30th of June 2025, enabling your savings to shine.
Wow, I thought my summer couldn't get any brighter.
For details of all Skipton International savings products, call 01481 730 730 or visit skiptoninternational.com. No withdrawals allowed until maturity. Interest is paid annually and upon maturity. Skipton International is licensed to take deposits by the GFSC and is a participant in the Guernsey Banking Deposit Compensation Scheme. See dcs.gg.
Radio Caroline North broadcast from the MV Caroline in Ramsey Bay from 1964 to 1968. And across the first weekend in August, Ramsey's back in the 60s with vintage vehicles and live 60s music. And on Saturday, the second and evening of the illustrated history of Caroline North and South with historians Andy Wint and Ray Clark, when the original Caroline Bell will be displayed. Tickets for the evening are £10, available at manxradio.com, and all proceeds go to support the Ross Revenge Dry Dog Appeal charity. The Caroline North weekend is August the 2nd to 4th with Radio Caroline, Live at Home and Manx Radio.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Faster Mai, good afternoon. Welcome to Mannin Line on Manx Radio. It's an open line today through until 1. Doug?
Hello, this is Doug Farragher. In conjunction with Manx Radio, I'd like to invite you to join us and learn something about our native Gaelic tongue, the language of man.
Donald and Barry dropped a note in to say, I support Howard regarding the protest for the sunken gardens. And 413 said, fill in the sunken gardens. We need the car parks. You could put that forward as an idea. Maybe it will be a revenue generator. The sunken gardens, says John on 557. Sunken gardens are the jewel in the crown of Douglas. Completely the wrong site for a skate park. Put one at Summerland. Keep the gardens beautiful for Douglas workers and residents to enjoy, says John. Douglas Council are always pleading poverty, not cutting the grass, not keeping the city clean and tidy. I've seen people throwing rubbish over Marine Drive on a couple of occasions. Tell me more about that. The Prom's a mess, says the toilets by the cafe at the Jubilee Clock are disgusting. Makes me ashamed to be Manx, says 039. What a disappointment, says Maureen, to hear that there are no buses going to Cregneash this summer. Tim Crookall, that's the DOI minister, needs to get his facts right, as it's a lovely ride on the bus up to the Sound. The views are amazing. Why don't they use a minibus? I use the service every summer and feel sorry for any visitors coming over. There's going to be nothing left for them to go to. What on earth are they doing to our beautiful island? The government is killing this off. No buses to Cregneash. You can have a very healthy walk, though. And also a message in from, Terry. Hi, Terry. Terry with an I, who just said, I went to the Four Seasons last night, the Jersey Boys show at the Villa Marina, but was very upset because apparently the bar was only serving sherry. Get it? Four Seasons. Sherry. Thank you. Good to hear from you. Next Tuesday, David Quirk is with us. David Quirk is the Energy Transition Advisor for the Danish Offshore Technology Centre. You've heard David on Mannin Line before. He's also involved with the Manx Geological Survey, the Energy and Sustainability Centre for the Isle of Man. So David knows of what he speaks. Next Tuesday, we're going to be on talking about the Isle of Man and what it needs to do to meet the climate commitments that the government has said we are going to hit. What are the challenges? What are the benefits with phasing out fossil fuels? So, David Quirk is on next Tuesday on Mannin Line. The energy he's talked about Danish offshore wind and onshore wind many times about that. He's going to be in the studio next Tuesday. So if you want to talk to him and quiz him, we'll pick his brains really about what he thinks we need to do. And also, as he's involved in the Manx Geological Survey, maybe we can bottom out once and for all whether or not geothermal energy will work on the Isle of Man.
Step into Office World, the island's largest fully stocked stationery store, where there's over 5,000 items on display to take away. From pens, paper, inks and toners to general stationery, adhesives and batteries. You can get what you need right now from Office World, with all the big brands, including Pilot, Pentel, Sellotape, Duracell, Gorilla, Pucker Pads and more. Office World is conveniently located on Spring Valley Industrial Estate, with easy parking right outside the door.
Office World! Wedding planners and photographers looking for a truly unique backdrop for wedding photography? Then consider the historic Queen's Pier in Ramsey for a stunning coastal backdrop for truly memorable photographs. It offers a fantastic location to photographers in exchange for an affordable donation. Visit the Queen's Pier Restoration on Facebook, or to discuss photo opportunities, call Graham on 355 104. That's 355 104. This audio has been kindly sponsored by Paul Carey & Sons.
Have you visited Talbot & Sons' new home yet? After more than 30 years in Derby Square, we've moved to Snugburgh Trading Estate with stunning new blind and curtain displays, inspiring ideas and the latest technology for your home, along with the same friendly family-run service and expertise you know and love. Visit talbots.im to find out more and come and see us soon.
Hello, this is Edge. On this evening's Spotlight, we chat to Reiki Bennett ahead of Litfest 2024 and hear about the Manx Sketchbook Volume 1, the latest publication from artist and poet Charlotte Jane Henry. Spotlight this evening, just after 5:30, and available as a podcast straight after broadcast via the Manx Radio website or your favourite podcast provider. Spotlight, a bright spark in a sunless summer.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Robert's on now. Hi, Robert.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, thanks. What's on your mind?
I just need someone to chat my ethics for a second, and that of the credit union. Obviously, you've got dear old David Talbot there working his chops off, trying his best to get all the accounting done and all the rest of it. So I actually asked the poor old man to do debt collecting. Now, I may be funny, but debt collection shouldn't be a free service, should it? It should be someone hired in to do that.
You would have thought
Just
so.
check my ethics.
How come? I mean, where has this come from? Whose idea is this?
Well, I think it's just a lack of people actually volunteering for the credit union. I was wondering if we could have a bit of a rallying call to get people in to actually help, because you've obviously got a pool of 1,000 people there, or maybe more, 1,500 people there. Lots of people who know about the credit union. They just need a bit of help. You know, they just need a bit of a hand to get things going without being too much about it. They just need people to come in and to chip in a little bit more. You know,
so they want volunteers. I mean, is that right? They want volunteers.
They do. Very much so, yeah.
Okay, and this is they're on North Quay in Douglas, aren't they?
No, they've changed. They're up at Ragnall House now on Peel Road.
Have they moved? Right. Is it the same telephone number?
I believe so, on the same website, mcu.im, and if you go to news, have a look what they're doing there, and then maybe click on the button to get in touch with them if you want to help out.
Well, the telephone number is 619459 if anybody's interested in volunteering for the credit union.
Yeah. Well, I just think you have to check the ethics of it, because dear old David Talbot is, life and soul. It means it's like a sea effectively, but, well, I shouldn't say that, but, he's the guy who set it up. So, along with a load of other people, he wasn't the only one. But, I mean, it's kind of like, he's given his heart and soul there, and they're just titling a man with something that he shouldn't be doing.
Okay, all right.
So
well, we're happy to give that a plug. If anybody wants to volunteer, then it's what, Ragnall House on Peel Road, you say?
Yeah, just give them a call, have a chat with them, see if you're interested. Maybe a few posters or go up down to the trade union or something like that.
Are you involved with them, Robert?
I've got an account with them, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, we appreciate that. Thanks for calling today. If you can help, and if you are interested in becoming a volunteer for the credit union, it's 619459. 619459. What's been going on at Laxey Promenade? Lots of messages in regarding this stuff that was on the promenade. DOI have apologised for inconvenience caused. Emulsion applied to the prom bled onto the road surface. Workers undertook jet patching along the stretch last Wednesday involving high-pressure jet surface injection of a liquid emulsion and then aggregate chippings into the potholes, followed by a final coat of dry chippings to help prevent the wet emulsion sticking to the tyres and shoes. Didn't work. The DOI says it's a proven process that quick and effective with minimal disruption to road users. Well, some people took to social media and wrote to me saying, what's going on? Wet pools of bitumen were left along the prom following the work. Comments included those who saw it stuck to their shoes and whose pets were left with the material on their paws. DOI said that they're sorry about it. Their workers responded quickly to concerns raised by a local business regarding emulsion being carried into their premises and cleaned it up straight away. And so it's all fine now. So if you've got a big black patch on your shoe, that's what it's all about. The government's had to increase the number of civil servants to deal with the COVID crisis. Unfortunately, says Tony, they haven't reduced the amount of civil servants back to pre-pandemic levels. It's costly. Also, services and issues are being dealt with online now. But even the amount of civil servants, admin staff grows. Why is this? Texter 614, you can't see almost half, most or any road signs and warning signs. Surely this must be a safety issue. Speed signs, chevron signs and what have you, lots of hedges are obscuring them. And you knock the nail on the head when talking about government and how the mistakes they make with their decisions. Why are we, the people who employ these people, keep letting this happen? Sure, it's a time for change. And a message in regarding apparently KFC's applied to be open 24/7. And WhatsApper 988 said, who are these chicken and chip chompers who look for a middle of the night snack? We passed McDonald's at 6 o'clock yesterday. Huge queue, KFC, one car. I've never seen a queue at KFC. Have you? Does anybody know what they sell? Increasing the limit for applying for public sector housing wouldn't make any difference. The poorest and most needy in society will always be at the top of the list, as they should, and those with the largest income will be at the bottom. And all this does is add more to the bottom. We need another public housing estate built with 1,000 houses. Then more young people, even with a higher income, can get a house and escape the ridiculous rents that we have here, says WhatsApper 134. This is because the DOI has pulled its mid-rent scheme. It's promising to return with a new adapted policy that fixes the failures identified in the pilot attempt. Now, the scheme, this mid-rent scheme, allowed those struggling to get on the property ladder. It was hoped it would help those on the scheme to save for a deposit, but the infrastructure minister says that it didn't work. And if you want more information on that, just simply go to manxradio.com. We're more than happy. If you want to look at this, lots on the website today, lots of news on the website, and more comments coming in. I'm in a team of people who help keep Douglas as clean as possible. To say Douglas is a mess is an insult to us people that do their best. And people can't be bothered to put things in the bin or won't go to the amenity site. No, just put it in a lane and somebody will pick it up, says Texter 846. Thank you for that. As with everything now, nobody's having a pop at anybody who does the work. It's the people in charge. So when you go down Strand Street and the paving stones are filthy, when you see chewing gum trodden onto the pavement, when you see, another matter, you see people riding bicycles down Strand Street, technically against the law. All you need to do is get an officer, a bylaw officer, to give them a fixed penalty. You can do it. It's against the law. There's a bylaw that says you can't cycle down Strand Street. So it still happens, and it's a bad example. People who don't know, people who perhaps come to the Isle of Man, see people cycling down Strand Street and think, well, that's it. You're allowed to cycle down Strand Street. A few fines possibly would get rid of it. Thank you for Beaker. Gave me that suggestion. Thank you, Beaker. Male 91, lives alone, diabetic, classed as high risk, informed the chiropody will no longer be a provider but will be checked by a podiatrist every 6 months to examine feet. 91, lives alone, diabetic, told to get the help of a friendly neighbour or go private. Given a list of private chiropodists, £35 per visit, says Bill. Something's changing, isn't it? We got a cruise liner tomorrow and one on Friday. Tomorrow it's the Seabourn Sojourn and Friday the Viking Saturn. So if you see anybody who looks to be a visitor, be friendly, ask them what they think of the Isle of Man. Right, Kelly's Eye is on the way, vintage Kelly's Eye. Back with another open line tomorrow, Friday.
WINT 60 years serving you as the nation station. This is Manx Radio.
Kelly's Eye, brought to you by Ellis Brown Architects.
Peter, what's Kelly's Eye looking at today? Today, David, I suppose I'm virtually looking at the Great Wall of China. I think not. Yeah, certainly there are walls either side of us, but the scale is somewhat different. Well, true, but we are on the Isle of Man. I mean, we're not on the other side of the world. It's a stone wall It's a new stone wall. In fact, they're still building it beyond and beyond and beyond. They've been building it for quite some time. It's beside, if I say new road works, it's an old road that they've widened. On the other side, there's a field with a nice crop of yellow DOT vehicles. Nobody actually doing anything in there, but that's where they're all parked. And then here we are. There's a roundabout down to our right, and if we were to go up another quarter of a mile, we'll find another one. We're on Vicarage Road, and I thought we'd just have a look at this stone wall because I find it remarkable in a way. We're used to seeing dry stone walls throughout the island, particularly up on the mountains and what have you. But here, if you just turn around and look at it, it's built out of the smallest stones I've ever come across. In all the other stone walls you see, the stones are 18 inches long or 2 foot or whatever. And here we are, when you look at these, I mean, that one's 4 inches, that one's 2 inches, that's an inch. I mean, the gaps are sort of filled. It's more like a jigsaw puzzle than a wall. I have an idea a lot of this stone has come from Dreams, Kerry, which is a great shame to think that they're pulling down these houses on Douglas Promenade and elsewhere in stone, to think that ends up being crushed to become smaller stone or dust, and yet here we are expending fuel, energy, money, carving stone out of the ground, shipping it in from Maccled, when a lot of that other stone would have been quite suitable for some of this work. But that seems to be the way the world is going. It's not quite recycling in the sense of the old pop bottles. It is, though, a very expensive way of bordering a road, isn't it, I think, because you're talking here craftsmanship more than tradesmanship. Well, you are, and when you look at it, what you've got here is something actually quite sterile.
Many of the most iconic buildings around the island have been designed by Ellis Brown Architects. Keep up with Ellis Brown today on Facebook or via ellisbrown.im.
Part of island life for 60 years. This is your Manx Radio.